This is me on my GPZ900R, and I've been working very hard over the past 2 years to be able to ride this bike. If you've been following me on my journey, then you'll know how much time, effort and of course money I've put into it, and now I can finally say it's back on the road after 30 years. I genuinely can't believe it's finished, and looking back at all the previous videos to be able to edit this one has been emotional. If you're new to my channel and this is the first time you've seen this bike, let me catch you up. This clip was recorded in January 2024, and it's the actual day that I first saw the bike. I went to have a look and inspect it and decide whether I wanted to buy it or not. As you can see, it's very rusty, corroded, it's been abandoned in a barn for 28 years and, well, it shows. There isn't a single part on this bike that doesn't need attention. However, it is 100% complete and original, and I had to buy it. And a few days later, it was on my driveway.
Is the original key. GPZ.
I hadn't exactly told Kate, and I don't think she was impressed.
Uh-oh. I might be in trouble here. Hi!
What is this?
This is my new super bike.
Wow, that is old.
It's beautiful, right?
It's something.
After getting half a thumbs up from Kate, I decided just to crack on with the bike. Now, I took the seat off and discovered that there was an aftermarket alarm on it, which obviously didn't work, so that had to come out. Inside the tank wasn't exactly a pretty story either. There is rust everywhere. The engine covers are all corroded. I took the HT lead out and there was rust in there. As you can see, the entire frame, chassis, bolts, nuts, everything rusty. Front indicator was broken, but it did turn over. So I carried on removing the alarm because there was no way I was going to get that to work again. I noticed there was no fuses in the fuse box. I started taking the panels off and most of them were kind of broken. I took the carburettors out because they needed refurbishing before I could even dream of getting this bike started. And sitting here editing this video now is making me realise how bad this bike actually was. I got to work stripping the carburettors down to their very last screw. I did this while suffering from a chest infection in a house that Kate and I were renovating, so I was isolating from her because I didn't want to make her ill. I got them all painted. I did this on the kitchen floor, which Kate wasn't super impressed with, but the paint did actually clean up quite easily with a cloth and a mop. I actually put these back together and reassembled them in a hotel room whilst I was working away. Back to the fuse box, I took it into my workshop, completely stripped it down to its very last component, cleaned all the corrosion out of it, and then got it back on the bike and got the ignition working. Next up, I took out all the spark plugs and replaced them for nice shiny new ones. I then fitted a new starter solenoid because that didn't work, drained the oil out from both sump plugs, put fresh oil in, did a compression test, checked for spark, reconnected the carburettors, put them back in the bike, drained some fuel out of my Thundercat,
Mini petrol tank!
set on my little tank, and with a little bit of easy start, managed to get the bike running, albeit it was a bit smoky. Thankfully it cleared up after a little while and I got it running pretty sweet. Knowing now that the engine was all good, next thing to do, strip the bike down. First off, removing the exhaust. To get the rest of the exhaust off though, I had to take the radiator out, remove some fairings. I came back to the upper fairing a bit later. Then I was able to get access to the front manifold and removed that. Then I decided to take the coils off and finish removing the upper fairing. Once I'd done that, I took the headlight off and the clocks, took out this frame bracket thing, pointed at some bolts, drilled some holes, took off the chain guard, undid that nut which enabled me to remove the rear foot pegs. Then I removed the clutch slave cylinder, the chain, this connector, and then jumped around the other side to remove the foot pegs and the brake master cylinder. Once I'd done all this, the engine was ready to come out, so I put my little trolley there, jacked it up and wheeled it out the way. Next up, I removed the very tatty wiring loom, then the handlebars, along with the upper yoke, and then I get distracted and start tapping bolts at the rear suspension and remove the rear swing arm. Then I remove the front forks, and I'm basically left with a completely empty frame. In the workshop, I remove the rear wheel from the rear swing arm, then take the rear sprocket off, remove the disc, and get the tyre off. Doesn't that look nice? So does the rear shock. Then I have a look at the front wheel and suspension assembly. So I take off the mudguard, then the lower yoke. I remove the bolt holding the forks on the wheel. I cleaned up the rear swing arm with some degreaser and a sponge and some warm water. Then I got my edge primer out to attack the frame and all the other bits that I'd stripped. Looking good, using my ladder to hang them up to dry. Now this is gloss black K2 paint, and basically you activate it by pulling this ring and then twisting it, which opens up a mini can inside, and then you shake the paint and the hardener together inside the can. And the finish is absolutely sublime. I cleaned up the rear shock, sprayed some silver on the rear swing arm, that came out really nicely. Then I start reassembling the rear suspension with a brand new genuine chain guard. Doesn't that look fantastic? Back to the wheels, and I got them vapor blasted. Once that was done, I masked them all up and again attacked them with some etch primer before painting them black, then masking them up again to remove the paint from the bits that I didn't want painted, and then I gave them a nice coat of clear 2K lacquer, and they came out really nicely. I put new bearings in, reattached the sprocket, well, brand new sprocket, and then I put new cush rubbers in, cleaned up the speedo cable gear, all new bolts and fittings, torqued them up to spec, added the brand new discs, and they came out looking brand new. To get the front suspension sorted, I stripped and completely rebuilt the front forks, including brand new, made for me stanchions. It took about 3 months to get these made, and by which time I'd completely forgotten how I took everything apart, so I actually had to watch my own disassembly video to put the things back together again. I stripped and rebuilt the anti-dive system as well, and once everything was back together I could put the forks back on the bike, followed by the wheels. And it's the same story with the brake calipers. I took them apart, had them vapor blasted, I painted them, and then installed new seals and reassembled them. Time to see what Kate thinks so far.
What do you think, Kate? It's nearly finished, right?
It looks beautiful. It looks new. I'm just curious about how you're going to get this up there.
With your help, of course. Now, the driveway wasn't suitable for rebuilding this bike, so I chucked it in the back of the car along with the engine and headed to my workshop in Bedford. I bought a cool frame to hold the engine in and started taking it apart. I removed the starter motor, water pump, alternator, clutch cover, stator cover, crankcase breather cover, cam cover, and any other water pipes or oil lines that were attached to it. I stripped down the alternator, took the badges off the covers, painted them the best I could in the original colours, gave the whole engine a coat of high temperature matte black paint, blasted all the various components and painted them in either gloss black or high temperature black, detailing certain areas with a personal touch. At this point, everything was ready to go back together. Assembly is reversal of removal, not forgetting bolt tightening patterns and torque settings. I rebuilt the alternator, put new bearings and seals in the water pump and reattached everything to the engine, starting with the starter motor and then the alternator, the crankcase breather cover, the water pump, the stator cover, the clutch cover, and finally the cam cover. This beautiful creation is now ready to go back into the bike. Next on my list was the foot peg brackets, which were a simple but fiddly strip down. I also took the rear subframe and got that ready for blasting. As you can see, I've decided to go metallic silver with these. I tried to do the triangle profiles in black but messed it up, so redid it all in one colour. Here's the clocks, which I just wanted to clean up and repaint the bracket, so I'm glad I did because they look great. The headlight had seen better days, but after a thorough refurbishment it now looks brand new. I wonder what Kate thinks.
Who's going to be able to see this bit?
Well, you won't see it, but you'll know it looks like that.
I mean, you did a good job, it looks good. But if no one's going to see it, It's a lot of effort.
You don't understand.
All I did with the wiring loom was clean it up, removed any unnecessary connectors and re-insulated it where necessary. With the handlebars, I removed the levers, grips, switchgear and master cylinders. I then gave them a coat of 2K gloss black paint, being rather artsy with the covers. This was an exciting day, time to put the engine back in the frame, and as it was only 3 bolts, it was pretty straightforward. Next to go on is the rear subframe and upper fairing mounting bracket, followed by the foot pegs, headlight, clocks, handlebars, clutch master cylinder, front brake master cylinder, and then the switch gear on both sides. Once I fitted the thermostat housing to the water manifold, I fitted that to the engine, as well as the coolant filler cap tube. The exhaust manifold brackets looked a bit rusty, so I gave them a blast and a paint, and with new gaskets I reinstalled the headers, followed by the centre pipes and rear silencers. In goes a new air filter and rubbers into the airbox, which can now go back on the bike. This is a brand new radiator with the original fan and grille that I refurbished, and once I've put the bracket back on the front of the bike I can install it along with the oil cooler. On go the carburettors, which wasn't too difficult with the brand new rubbers. I'd forgotten about the coolant reservoir tank, but after a thorough clean inside and out it looks as good as new. With the coils installed and coolant added, much to my surprise the engine is running again without too much tweaking, no leaks or rattles, so we're nearly there. The rear mudguard and chain plastics just need a wash. I give the clutch slave cylinder the same restoration treatment as everything else on the engine, along with the rear luggage hooks while I'm at it. The rear light gets a strip down, clean and rebuild before going back onto the bike. I fit a new front sprocket and chain, reinstall the clutch slave cylinder and attach a brand new braided line to it as well. I also put brand new braided lines on the brakes too. The bike is now moving under its own power. The tank was so rusty I couldn't save it myself, so I gave it to the experts at Kempston Radiators, who cut the bottom open, blasted out all the rust in the old liner, welded it back up, coated the inside with a new liner, and gave it back to me in a coat of primer. I then passed it on to Manny at Pro Finish Paint Shop, who's done an absolutely smashing job of respraying the tank and all the fairings, just from a couple of photos I gave him. I refurbished the petrol tap and put it back in the tank, along with a brand new fuel gauge sender unit and the black painted cap. On goes the rear fairing. I give a quick spruce up to the indicators and get them fitted. I polished the screen with toothpaste, stuck some petrol in the tank to make sure it wasn't leaking, balanced the carbs, and I'm so proud to now finally present to you my completed Kawasaki GPZ900R. I'm so happy with this bike, you would not believe it. It's come out absolutely perfectly, just as I imagined and just how I always wanted it. I've put some personal touches on it, shall we say, so it's now a GPZ900AR for Ash Rowland. Got my name there at the bottom of the number plate, and like I said, couldn't be happier with this. Thank you ever so much to every single person that's liked, has subscribed and commented. Everything helps me be able to do things like this, and a massive thank you to Kate. I wouldn't have even started thinking about doing something like this if it wasn't for you, so I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy the ride.
Turn this life into something that you could never run. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my body show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never run. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right. It's your life, do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do
thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you next time. Cheers!